We have prepared this briefing at the direction of ACAP Command from Fort Knox so that we can explain to you why the industry needs so many drivers. Who are these major employers? What is the job and the ability for our service members to earn in excess of $40,000 in their first year? What is the available career path to them? And how CDL provides that required civilian CDL credential, and how we make this a reality for our service members 26 days from their ETS date, and how CDL and ACAP can work together to deliver these jobs. At the conclusion of this briefing, I'm going to provide you with my direct contact information so that you can get in touch with me so that I may answer any of your questions and we can discuss the options for moving forward. In addition to this briefing, we do have a far more comprehensive presentation that our service members can access through a link similar to the one that you've used to review this presentation today. So who is the CDL School? Well, we are an industry expert in driver placement and transportation training. Our heritage dates back to 1963, and we are licensed and approved by the appropriate state licensing agencies, and we are VA approved for the training of eligible veterans. So let's consider our typical employer profile. These companies have annual revenues of over $500 million. They operate over 3,500 power units, and they employ more than 3,000 people, and they operate 7 or more main terminals regionally distributed through the continental US. All of these factors are really important to our service members who are actually going to work in this industry. So why do these major carriers need entry-level drivers? Well, it's primarily because the US economy has changed. You all know how we've moved from a manufacturing-based economy to one of an information and service-based economy. Net result of that is that we're importing 31% more product than we've ever done before, and that arrives at the ports and the airports, and the only real way of moving it around the US is obviously by truck. An important factor to consider is that most things that you have in your hand have probably been on a truck at least 3 times in their actual lifetime. Another main reason, technology. We all know how technology changes our lives on a day-to-day basis. But those 4 words you see on the screen, just-in-time delivery, have revolutionized the logistics supply chain. To give you an example of that, if you go into any major retail store today, you won't see an empty shelf. Because rather than have a warehouse sitting behind the store, they rely on the inventory being on those trucks, and those trucks swinging in behind the store, delivering those products just in time. So what these companies are looking for, they're looking for individuals that can manage a 53-foot trailer, 80,000 pounds in weight, and $1 million in freight, and move that vehicle from point A to point B effectively, safely, but most importantly, on time. And another main reason is, I know you're all aware that we have an aging population, and therefore drivers that went into this industry 15, 20 years ago have now reached or gone beyond retirement age, and they're coming off the road. And unfortunately, we are seeing some disqualifications where guys and girls are just not taking care of that CDL. So those two factors mean that these companies are looking to recruit a whole new workforce, not just for the short term, but for the medium to long term. Now let us consider, why do these carriers turn to us for their new hires? Well, it's because these major companies, they're experts at delivering freight, not in recruiting drivers. Their focus is on logistics, not training new drivers. Their growth is based around being able to hire well-trained drivers that they can then develop, and they need a meaningful number of new drivers, and they need those drivers each year to sustain new growth. Growth that's been grossing at rates of 8 to 10% month over month for the past 18 months. So now that we've established that there is a real need for drivers, let's look at what is the actual job. Well, the job is working for one of those major national carriers. And through that job, a service member has the ability to earn in their first year $40,000 plus, increasing that to well over $50,000 in their second year. As well as that income, our employers offer them a full benefit package, which includes medical, dental, 401k, life insurance, employer stock ownership programs, and the ability to receive tuition reimbursement. Tuition reimbursement means that that carrier is going to repay the service member the cost of their training, and they do that as a benefit over and above that income, which is huge. Okay, so not only is this a really great job, it's actually the opportunity to develop a career in this industry. And what I want to do now is look at that career path over the service member's first year in the industry. Well, the first part of that is, once we meet that service member, is to make sure that we can get them approved for the job. Once we've got them approved for the job, then we can schedule them to come through and complete our certified CDL credential. That means they will complete that all-important 160 hours of training. During that training period, we will actually get them pre-hired with an additional number of carriers, so that the service member has the choice of who they go to work for. So upon graduation, they will select their employer and leave, and they'll go up to that carrier. Once they get to their carrier, they're going to be paired up with a professional trainer. And that service member and that trainer will drive together for a period of 4 to 6 weeks. Because what the company wants to do is make sure that that service member is successful. So they want to teach them the ways of the road. How does that employer work with its customers? Then at the end of that 4 to 6 week period, the service member gets upgraded to driver. And then they can choose, do they go as a team driver or as a solo driver? The choice is theirs. And then once they've driven for 4 to 6 months and they've proved themselves, they've delivered their freight on time, they've done the job well, that's when these companies are going to start to give them career options. And the first one they're going to offer our service members is the ability to become a driver trainer, just like the person they would have driven with for those initial 4 to 6 weeks. Because these companies realize that our service members have that man management skill. They have that discipline that will make them a great trainer. And those trainers earn $65,000 to $90,000 a year. So that's a great paying position. But for some service members, they may have the vision of having their own business. And that's available to them as well. Still under the main umbrella of the company, but now they're becoming what's called a double O, or an owner-operator. And this is where they can earn the big money. Or they may decide they don't just want to drive anymore. They want to go and work in one of those terminals across the US. And they can do. They can go into operations, logistics, safety, freight security, maintenance. All of those jobs are offered to drivers who prove themselves to be capable and competent on the road. And finally, they give them the ability to say, hey, I really enjoy driving, but I just want to be home more often. And they do that, and they provide them with the ability to get onto local, regional, or dedicated routes. Because these carriers know that if they're going to recruit the number of drivers they need, they're going to have to recruit family people, people that need to be home more often. And therefore, to do that, they've got to provide them with these more localized routes. And finally, once they've got into that different division of the company, they can progress and grow and develop, still working for the same organization. So real options, real opportunities for our service members. So one thing I would like to try and make clear is that OTR, or over the road, does not equal deployment. There's a real distinction. Depending on where the service member lives, they can expect to be on the road in that first 4 to 6 months for somewhere between 12 and 17 days. And then they're going to be home for 3 or 4 days. And depending again, as I said, where they live, here you'll see that in the green states, these are the freight lines, and therefore they're going to be home far more frequently than those that live in the yellow states. These tend to be out a little bit longer. But what's also important to recognize is that the more miles they drive, then the more money that they are going to earn. Take 2 guys, for example. One guy goes out and he can earn 60, 65,000. One guy earns 40 to 45,000. The difference is going to be just how much effort and commitment they put into the job. The more miles, the more money they earn. So let's consider, what is the CDL school advantage? Well, for a service member, it is the fact that we get them accepted and pre-hired with the carrier before they start training. It is the fact that our short-term training means that service members can be fully qualified, credentialed, and working in 26 to 30 days of their ETS date. The fact that we use certified instructors and we use industry standard equipment is critical, because it means that they're going to be trained on the same type of vehicles they're going to be driving on the road. And most importantly, we get them that certified CDL, which makes them a free agent. It means that they are not going to be required to sign any form of contract, enter into any leasing agreement, or commit to an employment period with any of the carriers. And finally, we give them that lifetime placement assistance. So that means if they ever want to change companies down the track, they come back to us and we will help place them with a different carrier. So, what are the deliverables from the CDL schools side? Well, we can supply your facility with some great informational materials. We can come and conduct on-site industry information sessions where we present to your service members the industry, the career, and the jobs, and how they can go forward from here to obtain one of those positions. We can provide them with online access to that comprehensive presentation, and we can do that through our website. We can also give service members dedicated access to our military support unit, and we can come on and do on-site practical training programs. Several of the installations we're currently working with have begun to explore this option due to the demand on their individual bases as well as the high number of projected exits. So let's look at the deliverables now, hopefully coming from ACAP. In this respect, what we're looking for is for you to alert your existing service members to the possibility of this career. Help display and distribute that informational material. Assist us in scheduling and promoting the CDL Employer Days and our on-site visits. And assist us in providing access to your service members to our online presentations and question and answer support. So considering how do we facilitate the results that we both want? Well, we need your help so that we can speak to the right candidates. We're more than happy to speak to service members that are exiting in the coming 12 months. However, our priority needs to be on people who we can place in the next 90 to 120 days. We need your assistance to alert those exited service members so that they can have the opportunity to consider the industry and thus help fulfill that driver need. We need to encourage service members to obtain their GI Bill eligibility as soon as possible, because the VA is taking up to around 35 working days to approve a service member's claim. And that has been the main delay that we faced in helping soldiers go to work over the past 6 months. Okay, in summary, this partnership between ACAP and CDL will provide our soldiers with the following: a great paying job and ability to be working in 26 days from their ETS date, a civilian credential that will always be in demand, employment with an industry-leading carrier, the immediate benefits for the soldier and for his family, great career development and possibilities, and most importantly, it will give them that foot in the door with one of the US's major companies. This slide just reminds me to thank you for your time. We appreciate how busy you are, and we thank you for taking a few moments to consider this briefing. As I said at the beginning, this is our contact information so that you or your service members can get in touch with us. You can do that via email, voice, text, and we do have a toll-free voice number. My personal contact information is a very simple email. It's alan@cdlschool.com. You can phone me on 954 300 2350, or you can drop me a fax to 866 370 8912. And then we can discuss how we can move forward. We can talk about those employer days. We can talk about distribution of information, connecting up with your soldiers that are both due to exit and have exited. So together, I'm confident that we can help many service members get into a great industry and develop a great career. Once again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you.